What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about Tesla stock and break down some very big opportunities that are coming right now that could actually help a lot of traders, and break down what I'm actually doing and looking for when it comes to the overall price action of Tesla and what I anticipate to happen for the next couple of trading days. Now, before I break anything down about this, before I get into any more details, I have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. And the best part is, any could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 1 week. Check it out before they run out. But that's out of the way. Let's get on with the video. So when it comes to the markets, I just want to note that we don't have a whole lot of data coming out for Monday or Tuesday, but on Wednesday we have CPI coming out. Now, before we get CPI, I do believe the market has the potential to try to keep going. I think it's very likely it will make an attempt to do so. And also, when you look at the options chain, we actually have not a whole lot going on for the earlier days, but I do see a lot of puts once again for the next couple of weeks. Now, whether or not the market continues to rally, it's going to depend on earnings. We have bank earnings in just about a little over a week, so we have to be very careful. Now, I also want to note that in my previous video, I did talk about a possibility of a crash. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen. I'm saying it's a possibility. I also broke down a lot of the levels to watch for on SPY in case we do start dropping, such as the 50 EMA, the 377 to 380 area, and then also the 200 EMA, all for the weekly chart. So make sure you watch all of those and you watch the previous video if you want more information about the crash or the possible crash that could be coming, depending on many different factors. But until then, like I said before, that video is more for like the medium term, for the next few weeks, next few months. I'm not going to talk too much about the next few months or like way too long term on this channel usually. I want to just talk about what I see happening, at least going into the next couple of days on a much more shorter macro time frame. And I still think there's potential for the market to try to break the high. I think the market's going to try to pump as we approach CPI, as we approach the earnings cycle, and then we're going to react to CPI. And that's why once again, I'm not really extending this past CPI. I don't know what CPI is going to bring. It is coming out on Wednesday, so we have to be ready for it. But once again, it's one of those events we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I want to note for everyone that CPI could cause the market to reverse if it's way too hot. If it's as expected or decent, the market could still try to hold up and maybe start shopping around here. Either way, I still think there is potential, and the odds do favor us either on SPY for the next couple of days, making another attempt to retest 411 or even breaking above it and getting a little above it, maybe around like 413 to 414 or somewhere around there. I think it's very likely one of those will happen. We're going to see one more attempt up. Then we have on Wednesday, CPI comes out. We're going to react to it from there. Now, we have some opportunities which are actually coming ahead of us. I'm personally not giving any financial advice. Make sure you do not invest solely based off what I say. And do not hold me accountable for your right moves or even wrong moves. I'm not giving you any financial advice. That is your own decision, by the way. All right? But what am I doing? I actually I bought a lot of SPY calls. I had some Google calls and also Tesla calls on Friday. I bought them and I secured profits on the majority of them. I'm holding just a couple of them though. I think I still have a couple of SPY calls. And then I also have a lot of Tesla calls still. I actually bought a lot of them down here around the 180 area. I mentioned to you guys in my video that Tesla would likely bounce around 180. And that's what I predicted. And that is what happened so far. Now we do have a potential reversal structure that's developing. We are about to get this crossover on the hourly time frame for the MACD and the signal line, and the RSI. I believe the RSI could be forming. I'll have to double check this. Hold on. The RSI, in my opinion, it's not actually doing too much. It's pretty flat down here. But when you zoom out on the hourly time frame, Typically, when the RSI hit low levels like this, it either drops a little bit more and then tries to bounce if we're not selling off very hard, or it tries to just bounce from there. So it's looking to me like this is a reversal structure on Tesla, possible inverse head and shoulders. And this crossover on the PPO is making me think that we're going to likely see this thing continue to push up. We have this resistance right about here on the hourly, which is where this triple rejection was. I think Tesla is most likely going to retest it and break it and eventually get back above 190. I'm pretty confident it's going to do that pretty quickly. And then if we break 190, I'm going to be watching this 192 area. If it breaks 192.5, it's going to fly up to about 195 or so. And I think it could actually do this early next week. Now, I don't know if this is basically based off like technicals, right? I'm talking about technicals. I don't know if it's going to make this move before CPI comes out, or maybe after CPI causes like one more pump or something like that. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I do believe the technicals are suggesting it's going to reverse, and at the very least by like Tuesday it should get back closer to like 192 or so. We should see something like that in my opinion. And I don't know about if before CPI comes it hits like 195 to 198. I don't know if it's going to happen before or after CPI, or if CPI reverses us. I'm not too sure about CPI, that factor in there, but the technicals look more bullish, and I do expect it to get at least above 190 very soon. So that's another very good opportunity. I am going to be securing profits on the way up, slowly but surely, and the calls are printing very nicely so far. They're already green for me. I think they should be green for others as well. I had some QQQ calls. Once again, very, very nice balance. I told you all 313 was my zone. I was predicting 313 is where it would bottom, and we bounced off 312.8. About to get a crossover that's looking kind of bullish. Might cool off a little, then try to keep going to get to like 320 or so. And then the last couple plays I'm going to talk about are just like Aapl and Nvda. I will make a more in-depth video later on, guys, I know, but I just want to talk about a couple more technicals. Aapl is looking a little better. We're about to get another crossover in the MECD. And we also had, I think this almost looks like a divergence, not necessarily actually. But what is bullish about it is we have a nice uptrend. We're getting momentum here. We're above the hourly 50 EMA. And we have this gap up here. So I do believe Apple's going to get all the way up to the 165s, if not 166.5 very soon. If you're holding Apple calls, they could print early next week. But then again, like I said, guys, not financial advice, but I'm actually securing profits before CPI. I really don't like holding through events like that because it's kind of a gamble. We don't know what's about to cause. But until then, I still think there's a little more upside for Apple. For Nvda, that's going to be the last one I talk about. I'm going to make this video kind of short. For Nvda, I just want to note it's actually showing some strength. It's looking better. My target, I thought this thing would drop to like the lower 260s, then try to bounce. Instead, it actually went to about 264, so a little bit higher than I thought, but it did actually bounce very similar to what I predicted. Now, it's getting stopped around gap resistance at about 270. In my opinion, this is starting to look kind of bullish. We have another crossover right here on the MACD on the hourly time frame. The 4 hours also curling. I remember seeing that. A bit of a curl, but it's not as significant just yet. It needs a little more time for momentum. But the 1 hour is actually looking a lot better. The RSI, I oftentimes like to look for divergences. I think we formed a divergence because when you look at the RSI was getting lower and lower around here. The RSI is respecting a small downtrend. I know it's a little hard to see, but the RSI was getting lower. The price technically made a higher low. Very hard to see, but it is actually the reality of it. So like right here on Nvda, right? I oftentimes like to look for divergences because they can actually help us see what's about to happen. So like I was saying, the RSI was at 32, then the RSI went down to the 30 on the hourly time frame, back to 32. So the RSI went a little bit lower right here, but the price went higher and that marks the bottom. How interesting is that on the RSI? And then that's what caused or helped this thing start pushing up. Technicals are suggesting it might reject a little, cool off a little, and then try to push and fill this gap and get back to about 275. That's what it's looking like to me. Will it happen before CPI? Most likely, but then again, I'd be very careful going into CPI. Once again, I do like to secure all profits and not really hold many positions before the big dates. I like to be very careful because events like that could be very unpredictable, especially because of how the market, once again, is very tricky. Now, once again, I was talking about this possibility yesterday on SPY. I don't know if SPY is going to rally like this hard or not, but if it does, we're going to be watching for a potential divergence that could form on SPY. It could stop at 411, so like right here, it could stop, but I think the odds do favor us breaking a little higher, trying to get all the way up to about 413 or so, like all the way up to these higher levels. The odds do favor that. If that happens, we might form a divergence. If the divergence forms before CPI, I'm going to be very careful because that could mark a big reversal. CPI could cause a reversal if a divergence forms on the RSI. What I mean by this is the price might get higher, make a higher high. The RSI may make a lower high because it cooled off a lot and it may not reach the same extremes it was at during this top right here. Which means, once again, the price may make a higher high, the RSI may make a lower high if we do rally to new highs, if we break like 412 on SPY. And if that happens right before CPI, I would be very careful. Maybe CPI marks the top and then it reverses, or maybe we just straight up crash off CPI. Who knows? Right? I don't know. Maybe even CPI just invalidates the technicals and we just keep rallying. Who knows? It's kind of like a gamble if you are holding like one position on just one side and you're not properly hedged before a big event. And that's why you have to be very careful. All right. That's why I either like hedge before big events or I simply just don't play them because it could be very risky. All right. So, anyways, thank you all for listening. I hope I brought some value into your guys' lives. There are some opportunities still existing, especially on Tesla. I think Tesla is going to be one of my favorite plays for the week. So far, calls are green. I think they're going to become even more green. I have 190s for next Friday, I believe. Yeah. And so far, they're green. Probably going to continue to print. All right. Thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Market to the moon since the long term future is still very bright. And peace out.